Most professionals spend months preparing for the interview and still do not end up getting the right salary. Now, there's a reason why this happens, and that's exactly what we will solve in this video. You will understand what happens behind the scenes whenever an offer is being placed inside the company. You will understand how to prepare yourself as an employee to negotiate whatever offer that you have, and you will understand how to use AI to make sure that you are well prepared and asking for the right counter every single time you approach for your job. Let's get started. Whenever you see any individual, they fail to negotiate the salary because they fear that they will lose the offer. They fear that they'll sound way too greedy. It's maybe a lack of preparation. The way they prepare about their confidence, the way they do not really work on their research. And the worst of them all, they haven't even practiced those conversations in their life. Now, I have built the entire hiring system for the companies that I worked for, got the blessing to work with from ground up, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that it's pretty easy to do so if you just understand the the whole system. Now, why does this matter? It's not about your today's pay. You have to understand that your future raises depends on how you negotiate on the very first time. Okay, your the way you negotiate your salary decides the kind of bonuses that you're going to have, the incentives that you're going to have, the way your future is secured. Whenever you're opting for a job in majority of the countries, you're not allowed to have a second stream of income. So you've got to plan that also properly. The way you negotiate decides your long-term wealth, the way your family is taken care of, and most importantly, it can ensure that you continuously earn for years to come and increase your savings years to come. And that's why this matters. Now, when you look at the approaching a negotiation, you got to understand that it's not a confrontation, it's not a challenge, it's a collaboration. You're working with your company, and your company also understands that. Now, ideally, what you've got to understand is how do we create a win-win scenario for both yourself as well as the company. And instead of working on emotion, how can we look at research? Looking at the numbers that we have at our disposal, the industry standard, all of those things. And instead of making demands, we just ask a lot of questions in a very curious manner. Now, the preparation is what is the most important step. So the moment you think about preparing, you got to understand what is your market paying you for that specific role. Now, there are ways to do it. Okay. How do you understand about the company? What is the budget that the company has at their disposal? We will learn that. How do you understand what is the salary that is there with respect to your job role? So, what is the market paying? Every single time for any job for that matter, there's always a minimum salary that is being paid for that specific years of experience, for that specific role. There is a maximum salary that is being paid, and that is what is called as a salary range. Now, ideally, you're going to try to ensure that you're pushing yourself towards that salary range as much as possible. Understanding and being crystal clear about the achievements that you have with respect to that role. Now, if you're able to convince your company that whatever they are paying you, you're able to directly or indirectly get the company 10x of revenue achieved or 10x of amount saved, don't you think they'll pay you by default? This is the most important one, your minimum acceptable salary. What does that mean? If you calculate your entire monthly expenses, I'm talking about all your EMIs, all your monthly needs that goes in, your food, groceries, and all those expenses for yourself and your family, you will come up with one particular month amount, which no matter what happens, needs to come in at the end of every single month for you to sustain and survive. You've got to be crystal clear about that amount and then justify your salary along with that. Now, that is the minimum acceptable salary. And then there is the ideal salary that you would ideally like to have, which means we're not just talking about your needs, we're talking about your wants, desires, and maybe to a certain extent, your savings as well. So, your minimum acceptable salary and your ideal salary, when you do the research, you will find a two set of numbers. One is what the market is offering for that particular role. And then based on your own expenses, your own lifestyle, what are those numbers for you? The minimum, the maximum, and the median of the same. And finally, you need to understand what's your walk away point, which means beyond this, if this particular amount is not given, there is no way that I can move forward. Again, how are we going to do that? We'll understand. This is just for us to prepare. Now, let me give you a little bit of behind the scenes of what happens. Now, over the last 7, 8 years that I've been able to serve so many different companies, I've realized that once we finish the interview, before the HR will usually tell you that I'll get back to you. Now the hiring team sits down with the manager, with the budget allocation team member, whether it's a boardroom member or the CEO, and they come up with a proper budget. And the HR is being given a range. Now, ideally, the HR is going to try to be as minimum of that range as possible. Your objective is to hit as maximum, but let's see what happens behind the scene. The company, once they've done that final round of interview with you, they will identify your skills, your experience, the kind of business impact that you have, the maximum market salary benchmarks that are there, and it will create its own internal salary bands. Along with that, the company budget and the future potential. These are the things that are mapped out. So you also have to prepare yourself even before you sit down for the interview across all these pointers by default. That way, you are helping them think and strategize a little better, and you're turning your interview into a conversation. Now, it's not just about the numbers that we are talking about. An actual salary is much more than what the salary speaks. So, when you look at the base salary, is the money that you get in your amount, and then you have the take home salary, which is pretty much same as the base salary. You got cost to company, how much the company is paying to onboard you. What is the cost that the company is paying through? Is there any joining bonus? Is there a performance bonus? What are the incentives? What are the employee stock options, if any? Does the company give a learning budget? Do they have remote work flexibility? Do they provide medical insurance, provident fund, relocation support, paid leaves? How many vacations? What is the leave structure? All of these things comprises and brings you your entire CTC. Now, the previous job that I had, the salary was not that much, but I had pretty much half of that CTC amount as benefits. I'm talking about courses, I'm talking about time allowance. So when you understand your hourly value also, and I am being very, very strict across all the jobs that I've had, I will not work after a certain period of time, 6:30, 7 o'clock. That's it. Of course, now that number has gone down to 5 o'clock. I do not work after 5 o'clock, no matter what. The technology and everything is off. So I have my set of non-negotiables, which I am crystal clear manner. I'm talking to the company, and the top company understands that as well. So when you put all of these things together, you can come up with a proper number, which is a win-win-win for everyone. In order to do so, you got to avoid these particular salary mistakes. It begins with immediately accepting the offer. The moment it's gone, oh, sign in. And of course, the company wants you to do that as soon as possible. They end up negotiating emotionally, talking without any proper research, undervaluing your achievement, makes you look humble but doesn't reflect in the CTC. Okay? Making negotiation about personal expenses. The company doesn't really care what are your personal expenses or your lifestyle, does it? Okay? Not asking enough questions, and this is the most important one, you fail to practice. So when you want to avoid all these mistakes, and if you want to implement all of the things that we've discussed so far, the better approach would be to get into the research mode first. That begins with getting into AI and asking a lot of questions. Couple of very, very simple questions that can immediately come in my mind. What is the market standard for this particular job description? This is the job offer that I got. How much more can I negotiate? Based on my experience, what do you think would be the ideal ballpark of in-hand pay that I need to have? What are the additional salary elements beyond the job role that I can go for? Multiple questions that you can directly ask. Once you've asked that with AI, you will come up with a proper detailed evidence in terms of report. But it's not just about that. You can use the voice feature of every AI tool. I personally love ChatGPT, and you can practice those conversations. That way, you prepare. One of the great quotes of Jim Rohn, You get rewarded in public for what you practice in private. The other way around as well. What you practice in private, you get rewarded in public. So you got to be able to practice all of those things. Staying calm, asking thoughtful, curious questions, communicating your value, knowing how to do so, negotiating professionally, and thinking long term. I'll give you a couple of examples. The market industry standard says that the sales role for someone with more than 5 years of experience needs to be minimum 10 lakhs per annum, goes up to 15 lakhs per annum. You're telling me you're going to pay me 8 lakhs per annum. My previous role was 10 lakhs per annum. Uh, I'm just curious. How do you justify that? That's it. Did you see the tonality? So as you practice, it becomes better. Now, this is where AI makes it so easy for us. I give you a couple of examples, but now let's understand step by step. You can literally open your phone and you can tell, okay, I'm applying for this particular job at this particular company. This is my offer letter. Why don't you give me, analyze the entire internet and give me the entire salary range across different years of experience, minimum, median, and maximum. So you can literally ask for that simple table. You can analyze your job descriptions. You can summarize the company's information, prepare negotiation briefs, practice HR simulation conversations. You can practice objections. This is the conversation interview that I had. These were the objections that the HR had told me. HR is trying her best to convince me to sign up for this particular offer in itself, but I'm not so happy. Let's do a role play and make this happen. Okay. That'll ensure that your communication is improved, and most importantly, your confidence will build before the actual real interview. Wouldn't that be amazing? So, if you've understood all the things that we've discussed so far, here are the action steps that you need to take. The first is whichever job that you are applying for, go ahead, talk to AI and research about the market salary. That's it. Just ask for the detailed market salary. Write down your top 5 achievements related to that role. I'm not talking about the fact, something very simple. Oh, I built an entire team or I hired so many people. No, I'm talking about specific results that were created. It should be specific numbers. What did you do? How did you do it? What result did it create for that company? So I'll give you an example. I'll give you my own example itself. Work uh, spearheaded hiring 26 cloud computing executives, simplifying their onboarding process to 5 days. Within 5 days, they were ready to join the job and start doing the calls, and prepared with more than 100 hours of training content within a week. And this is one exclusive sentence, the achievement that I got in. That directly resulted in speeding the hiring process as well as saving the company up to 10 lakhs per year in training costs. Okay, so that's one big sentence. Likewise, you can write down your achievements. List the business results that you created and practice one salary negotiation using AI. So go to ChatGPT, just say that this is a job that I'm applying for, this is the salary that I'm offered. Check out my offer page. Now do a voice call with me in order to, you are the HR, I'm the participant. Let's get started. Hit the call button and start off with the conversation. Always remember, the company negotiates because of your skills, and that skills is able to bring in value. So if you focus completely on the value perspective, you will always win. Preparation creates confidence, practice creates clarity, research creates leverage. The best negotiators are not really the smartest, they're the ones who practice the most, they are the ones who are most prepared. Now, so far, if you have enjoyed this particular conversation with me so far, what I would love for you to check the details given below. I've given you this entire mind map for you to download. Okay, you can download absolutely for free. What you can also do is you can sign up for the newsletter where I will be giving you access to the AI salary negotiation simulator course. Whatever we have understood is just the what about the salary negotiation, why should you learn it, and a little bit about what are the initial steps that you can take. But within the micro course, what you will find out is I've given you specific step by step instructions of you building your entire salary negotiation simulator, practicing it in such a manner that in a single sitting, less than 3 hours, you will be ready. Not just for one role, but any role today and in future, you will never ever have to worry about it. Again, I have very, very limited seats in terms of the coupons that are available. So just click on the link below and you will be able to check in for that particular micro course in itself. It's there in my newsletter. Make sure that you check in the notes. If you liked this particular video, let me know below what were your biggest learnings and what is the one thing that you would like me to cover in maybe the future sessions in itself. Loads and loads of value coming your way. Every video we're going to touch upon one particular topic where I go deep and give you exactly step-by-step solutions on what you can implement from this moment on directly in itself. Let every lesson with me, every time that you spend with me, be such an immersive experience that you take away something so powerful with you all the way throughout. I will see you in the next one. Till then, this is Dr. Surya. I love you so much.